In Brazil, strong security is in place ahead of President-elect Lula da Silva's inauguration. At least 9 heads of state and 65 foreign delegations will attend the ceremony. This Sunday, Venezuela and Colombia reopened the border for vehicular transit with the reopening of the Atanasio Girardot International Binational Bridge, formerly known as Las Tienditas. And in many parts of the world, people celebrated the arrival of the new year. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Brazil's capital turned this Sunday under strict security measures for the inauguration of President-elect Lula da Silva, who is returning to power for the third time. The governor of the capital, Ibanez Rocha, mobilized 100% of the protection forces to accompany Lula da Silva's inauguration ceremony, scheduled to begin at 2:30 p.m. local time. The military police of the city of Brasilia made available all its troops, and the federal police placed more than 1,000 agents trained in the area of dignitary security intelligence, among others. Specialized units of the civil police, such as aerial groups, canine officials, and special operations, are on standby to provide support if necessary. And Brazil holds President-elect Lula da Silva's swearing-in ceremony. We now go live with our correspondent in Brazil, Brian Meir, to go deeper with the details on today's Paramount Day. Welcome, Brian. We seem to have lost our communications with our correspondent in Brazil. We're going to keep on trying to get in touch so that we can deeper in this topic, which is very important for Brazil, but not only for that country, but also for the whole. We're going to continue with our news as we wait for getting in touch with our correspondent. And we're going to go now to Bolivia. As in Bolivia, authorities detained a total of 22 people this Sunday linked to acts of violence and vandalism in Santa Cruz in the framework of the mobilizations carried out at the call of parliamentary groups supporting the governor of that department, Luis Fernando Camacho. Local media report that due to the destruction, acts of violence, burning of the prosecutor's office and the police command in the Department of Santander, law enforcement authorities arrested 22 people implicated. They also detailed that these Sunday hearings will be held against those arrested for being involved in these acts of vandalism. The same were promoted by parliamentary groups related to the region's Fernando Camacho, following the Bolivian justice system's decision this Friday to issue a detention order against him under the accusation of terrorism for his involvement in the 2019 coup d'etat. This Sunday, Venezuela and Colombia reopened the border between the two countries with the reopening of the Atanasio Girardot International Binational Bridge, formerly known as Las Tienditas. This Sunday, January 1st, 2023, the vehicle crossing for individuals, passengers, and cargo will be officially open at noon local time. The opening of this bridge is another step in the process of restoring relationships between Venezuela and Colombia. While offering details of the day, the authorities of both countries indicate that it will be this exact day when the international bridge will be renamed Anastasio Girardot as a tribute to this pro-independence revolutionary who fought several battles with Simón Bolívar. In Mexico, at least 15 people died and 37 were injured in a bus accident in the state of Jalisco. The United States Security Secretariat explained in a press release that among the deceased were 3 children. They also indicated that the victims were tourists from the state of Guanajuato who were returning to León City after vacations. They explained that the vehicle lost control for unknown causes, which caused it to fall down a hillside where forensic experts and members of prosecutors went in to proceed with the removal of bodies. This January 1st marked the 64th anniversary of the triumph of the Cuban Revolution, considered as one of the most influential models of resistance and social struggle in Latin America and the world. On January 1st, 1959, Cubans woke up with the news that dictator Fulgencio Batista and a large part of his followers had fled, and it was inevitable for the rebel army led by Fidel Castro to achieve the triumph of their national liberation movement. Since that day, the Cuban Revolution made possible the beginning of transcendental changes in the life of the people and the nation. It brought the awareness and the certainty that a very difficult stage was approaching, full of new combat challenges and difficulties. In over 60 years, Cuba has reached developed countries' indicators in education, health, sport, culture, and science, and created the structures for equal opportunities and possibility for its people. Let us take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at the account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. The United States Treasury announced that seaborne deliveries of Russian petroleum products that are substantially transformed outside Russia will not be subject to Russian oil products that is said to come into force on February 5th. According to the document, in order to be exempt from the price limit, Russian oil products must undergo one of a number of processes abroad. These include distillation, thermal or fluid coking, catalytic cracking, hydrotreating, and dewaxing, as well as other refinery processes involving chemical transformation, separation, conversion, or treatment. Barbara Walters, the pioneering TV journalist whose interviewing skills made her one of the most prominent figures in broadcasting in the United States, has died at the age of 93. Walters' spokesperson, Cindy Berger, announced the news in a statement to CNN. Barbara Walters began her national broadcast career in 1961 as a reporter, writer, and panel member for NBC's Today Show before being promoted to co-host in 1974. In 1976, she joined ABC News as the first female anchor in an evening news program. At that network, Walters launched the Barbara Walters Specials and 10 Most Fascinating People before becoming a co-host and correspondent for ABC News Show 2020 in 1984. Along the way, she interviewed every U.S. president and first ladies since Richard and Pat Nixon. In the United Kingdom, the inflation rate has ranged around 10% in recent months, while the energy crisis shows no signs of ending in the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The cost of basic items in local supermarkets continues to increase as energy bills dramatically rise, adding further pressure to many families facing winter in the middle of a severe energy crisis. Shopkeepers report difficulties at their business, stating that as they have not received any financing and they have been forced to increase their sales prices. According to traders, this situation has led to a sudden decrease in their sales.
Business has been struggling. It's been really hard. We should have been peak season by now, but we've seen a sudden decline. I'm talking about a sudden decline in sales. People are not shopping, people are not buying, they're not coming through the doors. It's not only us as the fish shop, but other shops are also struggling as well. We're getting squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter.
European Union Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen on Sunday visited Bulgaria as Croatia switched to the euro and removed dozens of border checkpoints to join the Schengen zone. It marked a fresh start for the small Balkan nation of 4 million people that captured international attention 3 decades ago as the site of a brutal war that left nearly a quarter of its economy in ruins. Von der Leyen hailed the moves, which came into effect on Sunday, as a day to celebrate. Joining Europe's ID check-free Schengen zone means Croats will now be among almost 400 million people who are free to travel these 27 member countries without passports for work or leisure. Adopting the euro will likewise offer Croatia the benefits stemming from deeper financial ties with the currency and with the European Central Bank.
The season of new beginnings, the 1st of January, new chapters that are being opened, and there is no place in Europe where it is more true today that it is a season of new beginnings and new chapters than here at the border between Croatia and Slovenia. Today, Croatia joins the Schengen area and the Eurozone. two immense achievements for the youngest member state of the European Union, and both reached on the very same day. So indeed, this is a day for the history books. This is a day of joy and pride for the Croatian people. It is testimony of your amazing journey, your hard work, and your determination. It is a day of celebration not only for Croatians, but for all European citizens. And from now on, in terms...
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In several cities around the world, people celebrated the arrival of 2023 with fireworks and the joy of having defeated the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic that had prevented this type of celebrations before. In Brazil, Cariocas welcomed the new year on the beaches of Copacabana with a fireworks show. Estimated that around 2 million people shared the welcome of 2023 on the beaches of Copacabana. The transport system announced that at least 130,000 people came to be part of the Carioca New Year's party. Celebrations included live shows and several commemorative activities. Thousands of people celebrated New Year with music and dance in Mexico's capital city. After 3 years of pandemic restrictions, Mexico City brought back what had become a staple for the town, a massive public concert featuring Los Angeles Azules, a Latin American music group. Ahead of midnight, thousands of people flocked to the Paseo de la Reforma in the heart of the city to ring in the new year. Meanwhile, Scotland received the new year with a spectacular fireworks display over Edinburgh Castle. Tens of thousands of people cheered as they watched the colorful explosions overhead. It was the first time in 3 years that Edinburgh hosted the traditional Hogmanay celebrations. COVID-19 restrictions meant that the event had to be called off the last 2 years. North Koreans turned out in the snowy capital of Pyongyang to mark the start of the new year on Sunday. Thousands of people climbed Mansu Hill in the center of the city to lay flowers and bow to statues of past leaders Kim Jong-il and Kim Il-sung in a ceremonial show of respect. The start of the year is traditionally the time for a message from the leadership. When current leader Kim Jong-un assumed the presidency, he resurrected his grandfather Kim Il-sung's tradition of a New Year's address, but in recent years he has used speeches at meetings of the Workers' Party instead. Figures show that 2022 has been the deadliest year for Palestinians since 2005, with about 220 citizens killed at the hands of Israeli occupation forces. According to reports, Tel Aviv forces have killed 167 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and 53 others in the Gaza Strip, including minors. This year, about 9,500 Palestinians in the West Bank were injured. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority denounces obstruction of justice on the part of the Israeli regime regarding these multiple killings. In Iran, air defense systems have successfully intercepted and shot down hostile drones during large-scale military exercises called Zulfikar 1401 in the south of the country. During the exercises were deployed Majid missile systems and Qatam artillery fire control system equipped to detect, intercept, and engage aerial targets. Reconnaissance drones were also used to monitor the war game and transmit the intelligence gathered to the Joint Operations Command Center. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the simulations pointed out that exercises are intended to promote training and combat readiness and implement some operational and intelligence plans to improve security in the region. China's fourth domestically manufactured C919 large passenger aircraft completed its maiden flight on Sunday in 2023. The aircraft thus advances in its 100-hour validation flight process necessary to verify its operational safety and collect data for future upgrades. The flight took off from Shanghai International Airport in the morning, heading for Daxing International Airport in Beijing. China's Eastern Airlines is expected to put the aircraft on commercial operation in spring 2023. We have come to the end of this news brief, and you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.